What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Getting Technical, episode 75. Landmark episode.
Yeah, definitely.
Here with
Three
Burke.
quarters to a century.
Yeah, almost at 100. We're
Love
getting there.
Yeah.
Feel like we just hit 50, honestly.
I remember 69 like it was yesterday.
Yeah. I think that was our best episode ever.
Our most viewed pod, which is hysterical.
Yeah, but, it's Super Bowl week, baby.
Absolutely.
The bets are going to be flowing. The wings are gonna be flowing.
Yeah, it's a big beer and wings weekend. Definitely everybody that's this. I feel like this is a big like New Year's resolution goes out the fucking window. Everybody that's like doing their New Year's resolution diets and stuff like on Super Bowl Sunday, it goes out the window. Eating potato skins and wings and drinking beers and nachos and all kinds of shit. Like
making donations.
Paying FanDuel salaries. I mean, it's a frustrating weekend.
I always loved the fucking buff chicken dip.
Oh, but my aunt used to make this mean buffalo chicken dip, man. We would go to my uncle's every Super Bowl and just the buffalo chicken dip's elite.
So good. Pigs in a blanket too. I always
love. What's your favorite? What you got? What's your favorite? Like
what favorite?
Like potato skins, nachos, like that appetite, that bar.
I'm not gonna lie.
Appetizer.
If you put the pigs in a blanket in front of me with a little mustard ketchup, I'm gonna probably eat the entire thing.
Really? All right. I like that.
That's probably that just sticks out to me as far as like just a Super Bowl football food.
I mean, you can't ever go wrong with like the pigs in a blanket, the mott sticks. I feel like potato skins are a sleeper. If you got to get the right ones though. Like they had like those frozen like TGI Fridays ones, the little sour cream.
Those were crazy.
Those are elite.
And then you can't go wrong with wings. Obviously.
Yeah, but you got to get good you got to get good wings, man.
Yeah, but if you're at a good party though, they're grilling burgers and hot dogs too. Like you get the everything, and then you usually eat about 500 chips.
Yeah, you fill up on Tostitos before you fucking and Doritos before you even have a wing or a burger.
Yeah. I don't know. This is like a weird Super Bowl to me because it's like we've seen the Super Bowl already. 2 years ago we saw the Super Bowl. There's a chance for history with the three-peat. And Saquon's having one of the best running back seasons ever.
Right, but also I feel like it's not being as talked about as much because, nobody wants to see the Chiefs win. And to be honest, I've been seeing a lot of things on Twitter, just like how Philly is just like a very hated fan base.
Did you see the videos? There's videos all over the place of Philly fans taking Redskin, Commanders fans' hats.
Redskins.
Like going crazy. And it's like, bro, it's like, I understand it's your team, but like, there's a point where it's like, just grow up. Like it doesn't matter like how big of a fan you are. It's like you're a grown person. Like act normal.
I'm definitely all for like shit talking and all that. But when the game's over and you're sitting there like harassing other people, like grabbing their stuff and like pushing them and getting into fights, I'm like, all right, like that point, like you're a loser. Like. Even being like a Yankee fan, like going up into like the playoffs and like going out to like they call it the Bronx Zoo, like people. You're in New York, like people are gonna shit talk, like say like everything under the sun that you could possibly imagine. But I feel like once the game's over, like that's it. Like,
that's the thing. It's like I don't know about you, but like if I'm at a game or I'm watching a game, my team wins, and I'm watching with someone who is either a fan of the other team or whatever. If it's like Mets Yankees, you send a text or two, you have a few laughs about it, but. Especially if you're playing a team that you have like no ties to, really. If I'm at a Jets game, and we beat the
Commanders.
Yeah, we beat the Commanders. We beat the Dolphins. Like maybe you make a joke to your buddy, like, "Oh, that loser's walking out of here." Like, right. But like you're more focused on the fact that your team won.
Right. Well, like,
these people are going out of their way to just bother people. It's like you won already, bro. Like it's over.
Right. Like go celebrate your team's win. But I feel like it's not a very, hyped up Super Bowl as years past. People just, I don't think they care enough to see Mahomes win, and they don't care about seeing Philly win another one. There's no like magic in the air, There's no Nick Foles magic Cinderella story with either of these teams. Like there's nothing like exciting bringing anything out. There's no like, draw to this game.
Yeah, and also on top of that, the NBA just had like the biggest deadline in NBA history. The biggest trade probably in NBA history just happened.
Man. I've been trying to get back into some basketball, trying to watch some Knicks, but dude, Luka Doncic, that's unbelievable.
It's crazy, bro. It's not even the fact that you traded him for AD and Max Christie, who's like a fine player and like a pick, but the age gap. It's basically, I saw someone compare it in football terms. I think they said it's like trading like Matthew Stafford for Josh Allen.
Yeah, or like Joe Burrow or something like that.
You know, it's like
elite players, but like one is obviously on the back end of his career.
Yeah.
And Luka is just middle of his prime.
Or no, I think it was Dak. I think it was trading Dak Prescott for Lamar Jackson. I think that was the comparison.
It's all like you're saying, it's same. It's like
Exactly.
Obviously like AD is still a great player, but he's injury prone. Like back end, like getting towards the later years in his career.
And he's older, like that.
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
Luka's what, 27, 28?
He's 25. I think he turns 26.
25?
Yeah, he's turning 26 this
my
month, I believe.
God.
He's already been on 5 All-NBA first teams.
He came over at 20?
I think so.
Damn, that's crazy.
But it's not only if you didn't want him on your team and you want to just trade him, so what? Like, it is what it is. But the real thing where I think people are having an issue with is like you didn't field any offers from anyone else. You went to the Lakers, who of course no one wants the Lakers to get the best player.
I don't know how Mark Cuban allows this.
Well, Mark Cuban doesn't own the team anymore.
Oh,
He sold it. It would have never happened.
I was
going
gonna say, I was like, Mark Cuban allowed this fucking trade.
There's people are saying that like the new regime, because Luka Doncic was supposed to get like a $350 million contract this year.
And they're like they weren't gonna pay that.
They didn't want to pay him. Then they came up with all this other stuff, and like they're basically saying that they don't care about winning. It's a whole. You could talk about that shit forever, but I think that trade deadline and all that stuff happened. It really took away from any of the momentum the Super Bowl had, which is rare because usually football is king.
I mean, the Super Bowl is the most watched sporting event in America, and I just once again like it's just an uncared about. Like you guys were just talking, like this household is like, oh, you guys might go skiing on Sunday because it's like, who gives a shit about this year's Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'll watch Super Bowl on my phone on the car back.
Right,
like
you'll throw in a couple bets and hope they hit, and when they don't, it's like it's business as usual.
Yeah,
back to work on Monday.
Exactly, bro. It's just like kind of like you even know it's like. Usually you have a Super Bowl party or two. I haven't heard really of anything. Like no one's really that interested about it. But I think it's just because it's just like fatigue, bro. It's like I personally like I'm always like a dynasty hater. Like in a year after like the Chiefs eventually lose and Mahomes falls off, I'll look back and like appreciate what he did. But in the moment, like with the Warriors, bro, I just want the Warriors to fucking lose every time because it's just boring.
Well, it's human nature to hate.
100%.
Like we just
especially hate the top.
Oh my god! Like there's nothing more satisfying than just being a hater. Like it's just like, dude, like really like all of us. Like I got a PhD, man. I got a player hater degree, man. It's like it's just what you do, man. You go out there. Pat Mahomes is successful. Fuck him. Tom Brady. Fuck him. Like all of these guys, fuck them, bro. I don't want them to be great. I just want my team to be great, which never happens. But I mean, but even when, God forbid, the Jets ever have a successful season, there's going to be so much hate being thrown at them because they're a New York team and they can be more brash about it. But like.
Well, it's like the only example in New York is
you're just gonna embrace the hate.
People fucking hate the Yankees.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, probably the second or third most hated franchise besides the Cowboys.
I'd say the Cowboys and Yankees are probably
Cowboys,
top two.
Lakers, and Yankees got to be the top 3 hated franchises in all sports.
And I don't blame people at all.
Why? Because the Cowboys have a lot of fucking championships, the Lakers have a lot of championships, and the Yankees obviously have the most.
Yeah.
You hate the teams that do the best.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's also like Mahomes has won 3 already, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody likes Philadelphia sports just because the fans. I like Jalen Hurts. I like Saquon. I would like for them to be successful. The fans are scumbags.
It's nothing against the players.
No, not at all.
I
don't want them to win, honestly. But also, and that's the thing. I see these videos and I'm like, I guess I'll root for the Chiefs, but I don't want to fucking watch Patrick Mahomes win again.
Listen. I'm going Chiefs. The history is going to be made.
I think I'm going to have to also.
Playoff Patty is just not getting stopped. I think I was talking to my uncle. The over/under is 48, and I think that hits.
Yeah.
But I still think the Chiefs can pull it off by a score. Scoring maybe 10 points. 8 to 10 point victory. I think it'll be a relatively close game, but. The Chiefs' defense is sneaky good. Not sneaky. I shouldn't even say that. They're a top 5 defense in the league. But once again, it's like you said this before. They were 15-2 this year, and did anybody give a shit?
No. And that's one of the things I was thinking. It's like the Chiefs have been the best team in the NFL all year long, and we all chose to ignore it because of the fact where it kind of seemed like Patrick Mahomes just didn't give a shit. And in reality, it's like they have the best quarterback. They have the best coach. They have the best defensive coach. They have arguably the greatest tight end of all time. And they have a top 3 defensive player in Chris Jones. Like, they're kind of one of those teams where it just doesn't matter. Like, they're going to find a way to win. There was that stat where they've won like 17 straight one-possession games or something like that. And it's like, they're the best team. And all throughout the year, we were all like, they're just squeaking by these wins against these terrible teams. We're like, and then all of a sudden, they're 15-1 heading into week 16. They start Carson Wentz, don't give a shit, and go 15-2. Like, this team could have easily lost just one game this year.
Yeah.
And now they're here. They rolled through everyone in the playoffs, and we're like, the Chiefs are going to. It's like the whole year they were like the best team in football by a mile, and we didn't give them credit because we were talking about how they won. In reality, it doesn't matter how you win. You just have to win.
They don't ask how; they ask how many. And at the end of the day, like you said, but that's the craziest part is Mahomes can just lackadaisically run through a 15-2 season and 15-1. He played 16 games. He can just lazily win 15 games. Like they're just the best. They're the most prepared team. They have the most, the best talent, like at the most important position, the quarterback position. It's just like I said last pod. Juju Smith-Schuster's name was said more last week than his name has probably been said in the last 3 years of football.
Well, probably since last Super Bowl. Or the Eagles. Was he on the Chiefs with that Eagles Super Bowl? Are you sure? Because I thought someone got a PI on him in like the last drive, and that's when they won.
Not Juju. No, he's
sure?
Nah, he's bounced around, but he was on like the Patriots and.
I think he was on the Chiefs and then won.
Not Juju. He's not like a second stint Chiefs guy. I mean, before somebody goes, "What are you retarded?"
Bro, but it just.
But I'm almost positive this is a first time stint for Juju.
Yeah, the Chiefs are just that team that we just overlook every time.
Oh my God, you're fucking right.
Am I right?
Holy shit,
yeah,
you're right.
So. Yeah,
I don't remember this at all.
He was the one who got on that last drive.
He had a sick season too. 78 catches. I don't remember this at all.
Yeah, he was
in New England for rotting away for the last 2 years.
Just 1 year.
I don't remember this at all. Holy shit!
Yeah.
I am retarded.
Wait, yeah, but before I'll reset this in a second, but yeah, I mean, the thing I feel like we all sleep on the most about the Chiefs is their defense. Like, Spags is the best defensive coach possibly ever, and then you got Chris Jones, who honestly, when you're talking defensive player of the year, every year we're talking T.J. Watt, we're talking Myles Garrett, we're talking Micah Parsons. Nobody for some reason is ever talking about Chris Jones, and then when the playoffs come around, this dude is wreaking havoc on every team in the NFL.
And it's like outside of him too, though. Like the most impressive thing on Spags' part is like how many Pro Bowl, All Pro guys do they have on that defense? I feel like you don't hear like the big names coming out. Like you're saying like the T.J. Watts and stuff. Like Chris Jones is so not like he goes so under the radar, but he is just easily the best player at his position.
It's like him. They got Trent McDuffie, who's really good.
Trent McDuffie's good, but it's like once again, like he's not like a household.
No, not at all.
Name like people know that the Pat Surtains, the Sauce Gardners, the Jalen Ramseys. People know these names. But nobody's really talking Trent McDuffie. Wow. Like
George Karlaftis. Yeah. Nobody's talking about that.
Like they know that name because it's a funny sounding name, not because he's actually a really good linebacker. Like it's just. Damn, I can't believe I didn't realize that Juju. That's crazy. I remember that is just.
That's the one thing I remember is like he was the one who drew that bullshit PI that cost the Eagles the Super Bowl.
Eric McKinnon had actually a pretty solid playoff run. I'm telling you, I don't remember this at all. Juju being on the Chiefs before this. That's crazy. Just blanked out that whole year, I guess. Probably drinking too much.
But yeah, I mean, back to. Do you have anything else on the Chiefs? I
feel like we're doing a lot of glazing on the Chiefs, but
just truth, really.
I'm not saying that the Chiefs are that and and then some. But I mean, I don't think they're gonna just walk all over this Eagles team. We're talking good coaching and everything, and I'm gonna say this right now. There is just not enough respect being shown towards Nick Sirianni, and just year after year, how they keep coming up with excuses about how Jalen Hurts isn't the guy and he can't be the one to lead a team, and now this is his second appearance at a Super Bowl. Like Nick Sirianni needs to be talked about, especially offensive wise, in the minds of the McVays, the Reeds, guys like that, even like the Harbaughs and stuff like that. He needs to be in those kind of talks about how like these are elite like offensive guys. And like you can say whatever you want, but he is just year after year successful. Granted, I get it, they have a lot of talent around him, but people always just find like things to just throw at him and throw blows at him. But I mean, their offenses are always stellar.
They're always just good in general. I mean, and I think like the one thing is like that it's time that we all admit that Jalen Hurts is like an elite quarterback. Like the amount of hate this guy gets.
I get it. Like even this year he had Saquon, but I mean these last 2 years he had, DeAndre Swift and then Miles Sanders the last Super Bowl. I was like,
dude, he was phenomenal in that Super Bowl. Like,
yes,
everyone wants to talk always about how like these guys lose to Patrick Mahomes, and it's like sometimes you just get outplayed. Like, but if you look at Jalen Hurts in that last Super Bowl against him, if you look at Josh Allen every single time, it's like these guys are not choking; they're having great performances. Mm-hmm. It just happens to be they're playing with Patrick Mahomes. It's the same shit as like
you're trying to have a great performance against a guy who's just
better.
Who's just better.
It's like all those amazing Knicks teams back in the day. They never won a chip because Michael Jordan played in the league. It's like LeBron would have had how many rings if the Warriors didn't have that super team era?
Like Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning every year had to hit a roadblock, and it goes by the name of Tom Brady.
Yeah. And it's like it's not that Peyton Manning's not awesome. It's that Tom Brady's just better.
Right. Before Mahomes, Peyton Manning was talked about as the second best quarterback of all time. But I mean, it's his championships were drawn short because he just had to go face Brady almost every year.
Yeah, it's like it's just kind of shit out of luck.
Even his second Super Bowl was strictly defense. I mean, it was a lackluster year for him. He was
fucking terrible. He was like 40, so no shade, but he didn't do anything. It was Von Miller show.
Tom Brady's age 40 season threw for fucking 5,000 yards. So it's like there's levels to this shit. Don't get me wrong, like Tom Brady's obviously the GOAT, but like you're saying, like Jalen Hurts is at that top level. I'm not saying he's at the Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow level, but he is in that tier 1 level of quarterback. But Nick Sirianni is at that tier 1 level of coaching.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like your team isn't consistently this good year after year, and you could say talent, whatever. Dude, Mekhi Becton is all of a sudden playing stellar right guard for them when he was committing the most penalties in the NFL the year prior as a tackle for the New York Jets. And now he's all of a sudden looking like a Pro Bowl fucking offensive guard.
He's also playing, which is a first.
Right.
Playing in his NFL career. He was always pretty solid.
I mean, he's a monster human being. Can you imagine having a 350-pound right guard that's his size and strength? Like, it's insane. No wonder why Saquon doesn't get touched for 4 yards. He's got an absolute brick wall fucking offensive line.
Yeah, I mean their offensive line is insane. That's where like they win games in the trenches too. It's like the Eagles always have a great offensive line. They always have a great defensive line. And it leads to them having a great defense and having a great offense. Like,
I mean, you can having a great offense can help you have a better defense. Like look at the Jets. Like I know we always bring it back to them, but it's the hometown team. They don't actually have or last year they had a good defense, but that defense could have been even better, like their scoring wise, if they wouldn't just be on the field all fucking game long.
Yeah.
But Zach Wilson would go 4 and out, 4 and out, 4 and out, and then they'd be letting up. I still think they ended up with like 18 or 19 points a game, but it probably would have even lower because they had games where they would just let up 25 to 30 points because Zach Wilson is just 4 and out, 4 and out, 4 and out, 4 and out. If you're out there, you're doing sustainable long drives, giving your defense a rest and a break, swinging momentum, your way through the offense, which the Eagles do. They take advantage of turnovers and stuff. They're just an overall good team.
Yeah,
no, 100%. This should be a fun Super Bowl. I think this is going to be a high-powered, high-scoring Super Bowl. But like we said, it's just two teams no one cares about.
No, it's just boring. But in the last one. And I'll admit, the last time they met in the Super Bowl, it was a great game. It was a high-scoring game. It was a great game. That's what people want to see. I think people will like it once the game starts.
I'm hammering this over. I'm hammering it.
Is it 48?
I could have. I mean, my uncle called me. He said, I don't know if he said he's taking it at 48 or it's currently 48. What do we got here? 48 and a half. I'm hammering that. You don't think each team can score 25 points?
Oh, I do.
Right. Like these teams can they put up 30 something points each last time, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it was like 35 each or something.
right. You give me a little Philly special. You give me, all these. You're gonna pull out all. You got to pull out all the stops. You got it. It's the Super Bowl. You got. And these games though, the Super Bowl is always fun because I said this last time too. Leave it to Andy Reid to have a guy like Samaje Perine, your third string running back, come out and seal the game for you at the end of the game. To get them to the Super Bowl. Where it's like the Super Bowl is always fun because it's always like somebody like that just like the no-name guy. Like somebody like that's gonna
be like a Rex Burkhead or a James White.
Yeah, like dude, like
James
I'm
White,
telling you, Kenneth Gainwell is gonna score a touchdown this week, and it's gonna be fucking unbelievable. It's gonna be like first touchdown Kenneth Gainwell, and people are gonna go fucking ballistic. And you're like, because everybody and their mother is gonna have Saquon or Hurts or Kelce for first touchdown score, and then Saquon's gonna get them all the way down to the one. They're gonna somehow fail a tush push, and then Kenneth Gainwell for the first touchdown of the game, and people are gonna lose their fucking minds, and I'm here for that.
Oh yeah, I think that's the one thing that if a Super Bowl doesn't have drama, it's just like, and I think we've been lucky. Like most of the Super Bowls that we've experienced, at least in the past 10, 15 years, have all had some sort. They've been close games, they've been good games, they've been dramatic, and that's what the Super Bowl needs to be.
They scripted the fuck in there. Are you kidding me?
I'm here for it if they do.
There is no bigger script than a late game heroics. Deep ball to Travis Kelce for the game winner, followed up by a nice little proposal at the 50-yard line to Taylor Swift. I mean, it would be the greatest love story ever written. Are you kidding? That shit, that is straight up award-winning fucking Oprah Winfrey stamp of approval love novel.
You know what the funny thing that would be though is America would hate it so much.
Absolutely,
the Swifties would love it. Shout out to the Swifties,
dude.
But the amount of people that would just be furious, would be like, it just ruined the entire night. Would be so funny.
I just got a little thing on my Instagram feed about how now Taylor Swift is having her best friend is Blake Lively. Blake Lively's going through that big scandal with the guy she was on the last movie with, and now how apparently her and Blake Lively are on the outs because some fucking shit she tried dragging her in there. Fucking all nonsense. It's all nonsense. But you know what? You sit there and be like, oh, in her dark times, she could turn to Travis. It's just, it is such a fucking script. It is unbelievable.
Speaking of Kelce, I was thinking about some stuff, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Do you, if Kelce wins another Super Bowl here, that'd be what, his fourth? He's got all the stats. Do you think he has, would you ever consider Travis Kelce the best tight end of all time?
See, I'm going to say no. And not that he's not second or, if there's people partial to Tony Gonzalez or whatever. But, Rob Gronkowski was just elite to, the highest level. This guy was just – he was the best receiver. So was Kelce. Kelce's, one of the best receivers in the league. But, Rob Gronkowski was – laying out defensive ends on the blocking schemes and stuff too. Kelce can block a little bit, but when you talk about blocking tight ends, who do they bring up immediately?
Oh,
Kittle,
yeah.
They talk Kittle. Gronk was the best receiving tight end and the best blocking tight end for a 7 year period.
Yeah,
came out of retirement to just win another ring.
Yeah, and he was a huge part of that ring too.
He was just fuck it, I'm coming out. Tom ass, he said, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
To me, it's Gronk. When people ask this question, I always say this: who are you, knowing what's going on? Who are you taking in their prime? Are you it is
Gronk 10 times out of 10.
Right. So I always say, think about you're doing that Madden 1 year season. You need 1 year out of a guy.
Yeah.
To me, it's Gronk. I need Gronk on my team.
And I would say, I was thinking about it, I was no matter how many Super Bowls Travis Kelce wins, if you're taking a tight end at his peak of their powers, like you said, 1 year, you're taking Gronk. And the only proof you need, there's no stats. Go on YouTube and look up.
Just watch him play.
Rob Gronkowski highlights.
Just watch him. And honestly,
and it's you watch it and you're like, oh, he's the best tight end of all time.
You need to watch Arm Brace Gronk. Yes, that dude was unbelievable. I don't know, what did he tore his tricep or something, and then he just came back even better.
And it's so just like Travis Kelce. If you look at a career like in a whole, like he's gonna be most likely a 4-time champion. Either way, he's a 3-time champion.
He's probably gonna beat out Tony Gonzalez's record.
He's gonna have the yards. He's gonna have the receptions over pretty much. Maybe not touchdowns, but he's gonna have so much over everyone, and he has that longevity.
Plus his playoff statistics and everything like that.
Absolute legend, first ballot Hall of Famer. But if it's kind of like how people talk about.
Gronk will have what? Gronk has 2, 3.
No, he's probably got 3 or 4. I don't know. He was around for a bunch of Brady's. I mean, he probably won at least 2 or 3 in.
Because he had to have won at least 2 and then 1 in Tampa.
Yeah, let me look.
I don't know if he's got that 4th one. I mean, having 4 Super Bowls is just. I mean, granted, that's luck. Like I said, Tony Gonzalez is before these 2 was the greatest tight end of all time, and didn't even. I don't even know if he played in a Super Bowl.
Gronk's a 4-time Super Bowl champion.
Baby. But I mean, listen, Kelce, right behind him. Not very far off. Not a lot of space between the two of them. But, I mean, Gronk was just...
He was like a...
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
And, I mean, talk about you couldn't even hate the guy. Like, Travis Kelce, I get why people don't like him. You're sitting there, you're bringing all the attention with your girlfriend, the pop star and everything.
He's got the podcast.
Like, yeah, bro. Like, I get the annoyance. But, like, Gronk is just, like, this lovable idiot that, like... everybody loves, no matter what. Like, you would watch these games and you would hate on Tom Brady, but you would hate on the Patriots, you hate on Bill Belichick, but then Gronk's just like like doping around, and you love it for whatever reason. You love Gronk, you hated everything else, but Gronk's personality too also is just unmatched.
Unreal. All right, so obviously Super Bowl coming up. I decided to rank the top 10 players in the Super Bowl, so I'm just gonna run through them, then we'll talk about it. 10, I got A.J. Brown. 9, I got Joe Tooney. 8, Trent McDuffie. 7, Jalen Carter. 6, Lane Johnson. 5, Creed Humphrey. 4, Jalen Hurts. 3, Chris Jones. 2, Saquon. 1, obviously, Patrick Mahomes.
Kelsey wasn't on that list?
I didn't put Kelce on there.
Really?
Just because, no offense to Kelce, but, like, first of all these guys are studs.
Yeah.
And Kelsey's had a down year.
A lot of all pros in that list.
Like, basically all pros.
Yeah, a lot of all pros on this list.
To me, the only thing was Chris Jones, I feel like, has to be probably the most underrated player in the NFL.
I got to say, too, like, Creed Humphrey, fucking fantastic name, by the way. But
it really is.
I mean, him and Joe Tooney, two dogs on the offensive line. Jalen Carter, a dog on the defensive line. Like, that's going to be, like, the unspoken, like, true story of like football people watching this game are going to watch that trench battle. Jalen Carter and Chris Jones being able to, like, if they can be the disruptors that they can be, this game is going to it's going to have to take like sort of different turns.
Yeah.
Chris Jones and Jalen Carter get pressure. They were showing like Chris Jones has the most pressures when you don't double team him one-on-one. He gets like 15% of the time he's pressuring the quarterback. And that's from a defensive tackle.
Yeah,
you have to sit there and double team a defensive tackle every play, and the opportunities for everybody else just widen up.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you got to keep Dallas Goedert in to pass or to protect and everything. I don't know who really their second tight end is, but when you're running these 2 tight end sets because you need extra protection, and now they're able to get the doubles out on AJ Brown and stuff. That's the things that Spags comes up with, are just he's allowed to come up with now because he has players like Chris Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, talent level, sorry to cut you off, but talent level like that makes Spags that much better.
Yeah. The one thing that stood out to me though when I was looking over these players and stuff was like, when people think of the best players in the NFL, they always just think of like the quarterbacks, the running backs, the wide receivers. If you look at there's Mahomes, Saquon, Jalen Hurts, right? Chris Jones, Creed Humphrey, Lane Johnson, Jalen Carter, Trent McDuffie, Joe Tooney, like these are the guys that are like the true best players on these teams, and they're like the engine for these teams. Like obviously Mahomes is the best, arguably the best quarterback possibly ever. Jalen Hurts, like great quarterback. Saquon, one of the best running backs we've ever seen. But outside of that, it's not like this list is not filled with tight ends and wide receivers and running backs. It's filled with dudes in the trenches. Like,
right. I mean, those guys are also tops of their respective positions. Tooney, Johnson, Humphrey, Jones, those guys are all tops of their respective positions. So you talk about Mahomes and Saquon being, some of the best we've ever seen, but those guys in the trenches never get talked about because it's not sexy to talk about linemen, but those guys are tops of their game. And honestly, it's crazy to even think that you have a guy like AJ Brown at 10, but it's not that crazy to say because you don't even have Kelce on this list.
No. If you dig deep into it, you could probably find a guy that realistically is probably even more valuable than AJ Brown.
Who'd you put?
I don't know.
Oh, I was gonna say if you were
I
gonna
was
say,
saying like
I was gonna say
I didn't do deep research. I'm not gonna lie
listen,
to you.
I can throw you that Devonta Smith is right there and just doesn't get talked about. Every time AJ Brown is out, Devonta Smith steps up to the plate and absolutely hits it out of the park. He has a fantastic game whenever he's the number one. He is such an underrated number 2 receiver that can also be a number 1. He has shown that he can be a number 1, but is just willing to just kind of take the step back, let AJ Brown steal the show, and take what's given to him. And Devonta Smith can absolutely go. I hope he eventually flourishes. I hope, whether it's with the Eagles or with somebody else, but I hope people eventually start to realize that Devonta Smith, he won the Heisman, right?
I think so.
Wasn't he the Heisman winner? This guy is one of the better guys at his position also, and just needs to get a little bit more recognition at what he's doing. I'm not gonna hit flat out say he's better than AJ Brown, but Devonta Smith is right there. I mean, he's better than every receiver on the Chiefs.
Oh yeah,
he would be the number 1 on the Chiefs by far. Granted, DeAndre Hopkins is so far out of his prime now, but he would go right across to the best team in the league and be their number 1.
Yeah,
he'd be number 1 on a lot of teams.
Do I have to reset this? Yeah, I'll reset it.
What do you want to talk about now?
Not really anything. We could wrap it up with our pick.
Taking bets.
Yeah.
Bets.
Yeah. Tight ends will lead to a legit good conversation that's actually
Haley Steinfeld. Josh Allen, what a man.
Yeah.
She's unbelievable.
Guy's a true American.
Is she tops of the charts in WAGs?
I guess.
Did she beat out Conks?
Scotty Conk?
Scotty Conk?
Oh yeah, but yes. Wait, not even. I'm sorry. Yes.
I mean, there's obviously a lot of good-looking WAGs, but I mean, Haley Steinfeld's. Whew. I mean, you guys dating technically a Marvel superhero.
Yeah. I kind of want them. What are they doing with that? I kind of enjoyed that show.
Oh, you're talking about the Hawkeye show.
I liked it.
I don't know. The Marvel shows got off wacky. They started making She-Hulk and.
I watched She-Hulk.
I was like,
it was
right.
kind of brutal.
Yeah,
it was okay.
I didn't even bother. But, let's get back on track though. Talking about fucking She-Hulk. So what do we got? What do we got? Spreads. What do we got? I know we talked over.
All right, so we're talking
48.
Over under 48.5.
Hammer the over.
Chiefs are the favorite. They're minus 120. Eagles at plus 102. Spread's 1.5.
I mean, I would take a minus 3.5 spread or minus 2.5. I'd listen.
You'd adjust it a little.
Yeah, I would take the points at 2.5. They win by a field goal, and I don't see how the Chiefs lose. I mean, I do, but I'm saying I don't think they
haven't really. You haven't seen it recently. One thing I think to me is if we're talking just straight up bet. I hit this over the last week. Xavier Worthy anytime touchdown feels like a lock to me. He's been a guy that Mahomes has just been going to time and time again.
Yeah.
And he's kind of just he's not low key, but he is. Obviously, he's got the fourth best odds.
Who's turned into a low key guy that I'm gonna say this one. And I was making fun of Olberding earlier because we have a buddy that's allegedly related to Isaiah Pacheco, and I only said this because I sent this thing in because. They showed that ever since Pacheco's come back from his broken leg, he's really struggled to get his footing, and he's going to remain the number 2 running back behind Kareem Hunt, who, controversial past aside, is a very good running back. But Pacheco last year was a top 10 runner. I'm putting him down anytime touchdown.
Pacheco?
He's going to be like my weird guy touchdown. He's technically a backup running back. You know, Kareem Hunt's been doing the job. I'm going Isaiah Pacheco anytime TD.
Yeah, I like that. I was actually thinking of parlaying Worthy and Hunt, but Pacheco would make sense too. I think Worthy gets in. That was my one bet from.
Speaking of Gronk, does Gronk hit his kick of destiny this year?
What is this?
Is it not Gronk? Oh, it's the Manning. Like, see, this, like, the Mannings can go suck a dick too, bro. Like, get off. It was the Gronk kick of destiny.
What is the kick of destiny? He kicks a field goal?
He kicks like a 30-yard field goal, and he's been miserably off. I mean, the Mannings are now just taking over everywhere. And this is, once again, going back to just being a hater, and I hate the Mannings. Can't stand Eli Manning. Guy's going to get into the Hall of Fame for being on 2 elite teams and just being so mediocre.
And getting a few lucky catches.
Like, guy was just a mid quarterback. Just like the definition of mid. His stats mid, like no all pros, no MVPs, no nothing. Just mid as fuck.
But he'll probably get in.
And he's potentially not just getting into the Hall of Fame, a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is insane for a guy who is just so fucking mid. But that's my rant on.
Let's wrap things up. I'm going Chiefs.
Yeah. I'm going to go, these are Tails Never Fails, Blue Gatorade.
Blue Gatorade.
Blue Gatorade.
All right. We'll see. All right.
You can bet on anything. Oh, and hit the over on the national anthem, because why not? I don't even know who's singing.
Last year, I took the over on Chris Stapleton, thinking a country guy. He went under.
Last year? Who's? Does
I
anyone
don't know.
I don't care either.